Level 1, the applicant. You don't fire a gun, you fill out a form. It's 12 pages long. It asks about your parents, your grandparents, your university friends, and every country you've visited since you were 16. You answer honestly. You know they'll check anyway. This is how MI6 begins. Not with a briefing in a dark room. Not with a man handing you a passport and a pistol. It begins with a personality assessment, a security questionnaire, and a background check so thorough it reaches people who barely remember your name. You applied through the official website. Most people don't believe that's real. It is. You studied at a good university. You speak a second language, maybe Mandarin, Arabic, Farsi. You have no criminal record. You have no outstanding debts. You have never publicly embarrassed the crown. These are your qualifications, not your ambition, not your ideology. The service doesn't want crusaders. The vetting process takes months. They speak to your lecturers. They knock on your flatmate's door. They run financial checks, psychological assessments, and a series of interviews that feel less like job interviews and more like someone slowly, methodically, dismantling who you think you are. You pass. You tell no one. That's the first rule, and it starts now. Level 2, Intelligence Officer Trainee. You arrive at a building you're not allowed to describe. You sign documents you're not allowed to discuss. You meet people whose surnames you will never learn. Fort Monkton is what the training facility is called. It sits on the Hampshire coast, discreet and unremarkable from the outside. Inside, you learn tradecraft, the mechanics of the work, how to write a contact note, how to conduct a surveillance detection route without looking like you're doing one, how to build a legend, a cover identity that has to hold not just under casual conversation, but under pressure. You sit in classrooms. You run practical exercises in nearby towns. You follow someone through a shopping center, watching their shoes instead of their face. You are followed in return and you don't notice. The instructor tells you afterwards. You don't forget again. Your salary is modest, around £30,000. You don't tell your family what you actually do. You say you work for the Foreign Office. Some of them believe you. Most of them don't ask twice. There is no glamour here. There is discipline. There is language training, report writing, and the slow, methodical development of skills that look ordinary until they aren't. You are not a spy yet. You are becoming one. There is a difference. Level 3, Junior Intelligence Officer. You get your first posting. Maybe it's Nairobi. Maybe it's Jakarta or Warsaw. You arrive under diplomatic cover, attached to the British High Commission or Embassy as a second secretary or trade attaché. Nobody outside the building knows what you actually do. Inside the building, the ambassador probably knows. Most others don't. Your job is to recruit and run agents, human sources, people with access to information the British government needs and can't get any other way. You start small. You identify targets: a foreign ministry official with gambling debts, a military officer whose son needs medical care abroad, a journalist with access and grievances. You approach carefully. You cultivate relationships over weeks, over months. Most of them say no. Some of them report you to their own intelligence services. That's the job. When you finally recruit someone, when they agree to work for you, when they accept the arrangement and hand you information they were never supposed to share, you feel something. It is not pride exactly. It is something colder, more complicated. You are responsible for that person's life now. If you make a mistake, they disappear. You write your contact notes in encrypted format. You communicate with London through secure channels. You are building your career, one carefully managed relationship at a time. The money is better now. Hardship allowances for difficult postings. A small apartment the service helps fund. Not rich, not struggling, somewhere in between, which is exactly where you're supposed to be. Level 4, Intelligence Officer Mid-Grade. You've been in the field for 5 or 6 years. You've had 2 or 3 postings. You've burned a source, maybe it wasn't your fault, and you've lived with what that means. You've also had genuine successes. Intelligence that reached the Joint Intelligence Committee. Material that changed a decision, shifted an assessment, or warned of something before it happened. London begins to trust you. You move between field postings and desk assignments at Vauxhall Cross. The building on the Thames, the one with the green glass and the stepped pyramid architecture that looks nothing like a Secret Service headquarters, which is maybe the point. Inside, you write assessments. You read cables from other stations. You develop specializations, counterproliferation, counterterrorism, Russian strategic intent, Chinese technology theft. You sit in cross-agency meetings with MI5, GCHQ, and occasionally liaison officers from the CIA or the BND. You notice how differently each service sees the same problem. Your personal life is managed, not absent but managed. Relationships exist in a particular orbit. People who ask too many questions eventually stop being in your life. Not dramatically, they just drift. You let them. You are not allowed to discuss the hardest parts of this. That's the deal. The salary has grown, comfortable now, but you're not chasing the salary. You haven't been for a long time. Level 5, Senior Intelligence Officer. You run a team now. You have junior officers reporting to you. You review their contact notes. You challenge their assessments. You have the authority to approve certain operations and the responsibility when those operations go wrong. Some of them do go wrong. You get posted to a harder environment. Tehran, maybe, under a deep cover arrangement. Or Moscow, where every asset you try to recruit has been dangled in front of you by the FSB. You begin to understand that intelligence work at this level is less about individual brilliance and more about systems, patience, and institutional knowledge. You've been polygraphed multiple times. The process is unpleasant. The questions are intrusive. You answer them. This is the price of the clearances you hold. You know things now that you will carry for the rest of your life. Things that have no outlet. Things you read in a classified document at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon that changed the way you understand the world, and which you have never been able to discuss with a single person outside the building. There is no therapy for this. There is the work. There is the next assessment, the next posting, the next source to protect. The service is your life at this point, not because it demands that it does. But that's not why. It's because after 15 years, there is no clean boundary anymore between you and the work. You look at a crowded room and you see vulnerabilities. You listen to a conversation and you're assessing motivation. You can't turn it off. You're not sure you'd want to. Level 6, Head of Station. You are the most senior MI6 officer in the country, the whole country. Your cover is official. You are the MI6 representative, declared to the host nation, working alongside the CIA chief of station, the local service, and the British ambassador. Or you are undeclared, working from cover, running operations the host government cannot know about because the host government is the target. Either way, you carry ultimate responsibility for every operation in your territory. You manage a budget. You approve agent payments. You make judgment calls about risk, physical risk to sources, diplomatic risk to the relationship, institutional risk to the service. You are the one who decides whether an operation is worth running or whether it needs to be shut down before someone gets killed. Sometimes you get it wrong. You have direct access to the chief. You brief ambassadors. You sit in rooms with the station chiefs of allied services, and you read each other with a precision that would unnerve most people. Your social life, such as it is, operates entirely within the diplomatic community. Everyone in the room knows what everyone else does. The fiction of cover exists for the host country, not for the people at the party. You are powerful, you are trusted, and you are exhausted in a way that doesn't have a name for it. Your family is somewhere, maybe still with you if you've been lucky and careful, Maybe not. Level 7, Controller/Deputy Directorate Head. You are back in London, permanently. The postings are over. Now you are shaping the architecture of operations rather than running them. You oversee entire regional directorates, the Middle East, Russia and Eurasia, East Asia. You manage relationships with partner agencies. You brief senior ministers. You sit on the National Security Council machinery. You have a title that appears in government documents. You have an office with a view of the Thames. But you also have enemies. Not the kind that want you dead. The kind inside the building. Internal politics at this level are precise and unforgiving. Budget allocations, operational priorities, career management, capability arguments, these are fought with the same cold intelligence that MI6 officers deploy against foreign services. You are very good at this. You have to be. You were promoted over people who expected to be promoted instead. They remember. The work is no longer about individual agents or single operations. It's about the architecture of national intelligence. Prioritization, what the country focuses on, what it misses. The decisions made at this level shape what the Prime Minister knows and doesn't know, what Parliament is briefed on and what it isn't. That is more power than most people will ever hold. It is also more responsibility than most people could carry. You carry it quietly. That's what this level requires. Level 8, Director of Operations, Requirements. One step below the top. You are responsible for either all of MI6's human intelligence operations globally, or for the entire requirements and production pipeline. What intelligence gets collected, how it's assessed, and who receives it. These are the two most powerful jobs in the service that aren't the top job. You know where every significant operation is running. You know the identities of the most sensitive sources. A breach at your level would be catastrophic, not for a single operation, not for a single station, but for the entire human intelligence apparatus of the United Kingdom. Your vetting has been updated more times than you can count. Your communications are monitored as a condition of your role. You accept this without complaint. You've accepted stranger things. You brief the Foreign Secretary, occasionally the Prime Minister. You attend the Joint Intelligence Committee. You read finished intelligence from GCHQ, DIA, NSA, and services whose names don't appear in public documents. The picture you see of the world is not the one most people see. It is more dangerous, more unstable, and more dependent on the decisions of a very small number of people than most of the population would be comfortable knowing. You sleep in short intervals. Your phone is always on. You have everything you wanted when you signed that first 12-page form. You have almost nothing else. Level 9, Chief of the Secret Intelligence Service, C. The title is simply C. It has always been C. The ink is green. The tradition is unbroken since Mansfield Coming first used it in 1909. You are the latest person to sign in that color. The weight of that continuity is not romantic. It is functional. It tells you exactly how much larger than any individual the institution is. You are appointed by the Prime Minister on the advice of the Foreign Secretary. You hold the rank of Permanent Secretary. You are the professional head of MI6 and accountable to ministers, to the Intelligence and Security Committee of Parliament, and ultimately to the public, though the public will never know most of what you authorized. You have 1,500 people under your command. You have relationships with intelligence chiefs across 40-plus allied nations. You sit at the head of a machine that runs operations in every major city on Earth. Recruitments, technical operations, liaison arrangements, counterproliferation missions, counterterrorism actions that never appear in any public record. You approved some of them yourself, others you were briefed on after the fact, a few you stopped. You live with the ones you stopped almost as much as the ones you didn't. Your name is publicly known now. That changed. The old tradition of total anonymity ended in 1994. Your face appears in a parliamentary hearing once a year behind a screen. You answer certain questions. You do not answer others. The committee members understand which are which. You have a government car. You have a security detail. You have a house that you barely see. You have a position that cannot be explained to anyone outside the small number of people who have held equivalent positions in equivalent services. The CIA director understands you. The BND president understands you. Your family mostly does not. And one day, because every C eventually leaves, you will be replaced. Someone younger, sharper, with a different set of operational scars. They will sit in your chair. They will sign in green. The institution will continue exactly as it did before you and exactly as it will after. You knew this from the beginning. You just didn't know what it felt like until now. Somewhere in a building on the Thames, a young officer is filling out a 12-page form. They are careful, they are qualified, they speak 2 languages and have never been in debt. They believe in the work. They have no idea what they're agreeing to. Not really. They'll find out, they always do. The cycle never ends.